Hey, this is David Chislett, and along with my co-founder, Alia Sandavar, you welcome to the Playful Creative Summit for 2021. The summit is a fun-filled 5-day event that helps growth-minded, playful thinkers, problem solvers, entrepreneurs, and experts, as well as curious onlookers, discover new ideas and information. Right now, I'm here with Rebecca Tolk, who has spent the last 25 years experimenting with photography, shooting portraits, and nature, and she's dedicated to capturing the inner light of all beings. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here.
We're delighted to have you. Would you please choose a number between 1 and 9?
4.
4. No one chooses 4.
Oh, God.
Great.
Okay.
What was the most embarrassing moment you've experienced on a shoot?
Oh. Well, the first thing that comes to mind, although it was embarrassing inwardly, it wasn't embarrassing, like no one knew what was happening. But I used to shoot weddings for the first 10 years of my business. And I don't know, about year 9 or 10, I was at the back of a church, photographing the wedding on camera on a tripod, and the minister's saying their stuff, it's boring time visually. So I'm just like waiting. And all of a sudden I have to go diarrhea. I mean, it's like my body was like, you have to be somewhere else. And I was like, holy shit. I mean, like they're about to kiss soon. Like you can't miss that shot. So I was very lucky that it was a small church and there were bathrooms like right here along the wall. So I ran in, I ran out, and it like happened a couple more weddings like that. And that was like my being telling me I was done with weddings, right? Like after that. So no one knew, but it like heart racing. So I don't really have an embarrassing like that someone saw or knew.
Yeah.
That I'm aware of. I mean, I'm always a fly on the wall when I'm shooting people. So
Right. Well, let's talk about what you do.
Okay.
Rebecca, fine art
intro.
photographer. Yeah.
Okay.
So what does that mean for you, fine art photographer?
Oh, I haven't thought about that. It's definitely, well, I mean, I'm an artist. I feel that I come to it through art. I mean, some shooters are more technically inclined and they love that piece of it. Photography is an interesting medium because it blends the art and the technical. I grew up, my grandmother was a painter and a sculptor, and I had that influence around me. So I grew up surrounded by art and art making. But there was always that technical piece of me that I was drawn to. Like I didn't want to be just a painter. Like I needed something more.
Right.
So yeah, does that answer the question?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it does answer the question why you would be involved in something like photography. But now you've also done some really interesting stuff. I mean, you are a fine art photographer, but at the beginning of lockdown and the whole global pandemic, you came up with a very interesting thing that you were doing. Can you talk us a little bit about your remote portraits?
Oh, yes. Well, again, I feel like I bring the piece of art, like I create art of people and for people. So I really came into the remote portraits as an artist and wanting to, like I feel like my work is really a piece of art. So the remote portraits, when we all went into lockdown, and we just were miserable for a while, unable to create and connect with people, I found a group of photographers on Facebook that were playing with remote capture. And one of the photographers was teaching us, and they were just really great and supportive. And it just sparked, it turned a light on for so many of us, this new idea of play and how we could connect with others and, reach out beyond social distancing. So I started practicing the technical pieces of it with the other photographers in the group, and I ended up photographing people all over the world remotely. I'm in Florida. I was photographing in Ireland and England, and I photographed in Australia and all over the United States, all from my couch here. So it's just really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's an enormously creative response to a set of very strict limitations. I mean,
Hmm.
how how do you feel about your creativity? How conscious of it are you, and how it works?
I don't know. I mean, it's just who I am. And I mean, sometimes I have to be reminded. I mean, the other, like, I make things, I do things, I make my own clothes. I love to sew, I take pictures. I, I'm a fiber artist. Like, I do these things and I forget that other people don't do them.
Mm,
Like, that it's not a normal thing to want to, I don't know if normal is the right word, but the population, I don't know. I mean, is everyone always wanting to keep their hands busy and make stuff and do stuff rather than sit and watch TV? Um,
I don't think so. So,
so I don't know if I'm conscious of it or not. It's just what
right.
I like to do.
So what does your day look like then? How do you, I mean, that's a lot of making. How do you even get to doing that? What does your day look like?
Well, I mean, I've been an entrepreneur for 25 years, and really, 80% of an artist's life who's in business for themselves is not art making.
Mm,
I mean, there's a lot of, marketing and networking and connecting and staying on top of it. So I go through phases. Like, I was learning Facebook ads last month, and there was a whole week where I felt like a full-time digital marketer and I hated it. Like, it was like, this is I'm gonna hire someone. Like, and I had like my creativity was squashed. So it's really a mindful balance that one needs to find as a professional artist, wearing all the hats. So my day, I mean, I am a rather spontaneous person, so I just go with the flow. And sometimes if I have to do things, I have to create structure. Like, if I have appointments, like this appointment, creating structure. Um, but I also take time out. Like, for me, a lot of where I connect creatively is in nature. So I make sure to, go for walks and hang out with the trees and go to flower gardens where I'm inspired, to photograph the flowers.
mm.
Um, and sometimes it comes naturally and spontaneously and easily. And sometimes I have to push myself to do that, um, because I might be so focused on marketing that week,
Right,
or whatever else is going on that isn't creative.
right. So when you get a brief and someone's basically saying, right, hello, Rebecca, I would love you to come and do some portraits for me or for us, heaven forbid. Um, what do you do? What's your process that leads up to you actually getting them in front of camera on a location to do that shoot?
You mean the booking process,
No, I mean the
or?
conceptualization process, so that you kind of got at least some kind of idea of what you want to happen before they step in front of camera.
Oh, that's interesting. I've thought about that a lot. I am a very spontaneous shooter. I am very in the moment. So, like, when I used to shoot weddings, I would not scout out the locations. I would show up 30 minutes before the wedding, get all my stuff together, and then we'd go out and explore the grounds together. Like, I shot at bed and breakfasts and farms and, more outdoor stuff, of course, because that's what I resonate with. So we would go and walk around the grounds together. And for me, inspiration is in that spark of newness and seeing for the first time.
Mm.
So with my remote portraits, because I brought in a piece of healing and self-love and, inner connection for the clients, I would have them fill out a questionnaire that really helps them get clear about their intention for the shoot.
Yeah,
Um, so so that would help me, like, get into the right frame of mind and, how to work with them. I also would bring in an embodiment guide for some of my clients, to really help them get out of their head and drop down into their heart and their body. And that worked really well.
Right.
So the questionnaire is really a big thing. I want to find out where people are at, but also visually, for me, that's the spontaneity part.
Right. Okay, cool. Now you mentioned obviously that you're coming from a more of an art corner when dealing with photography, but of course photography is hugely technical. So what are you currently experimenting and messing around with when it comes to taking photographs?
I'm glad you asked that. It's my new favorite thing. So I have always loved playing with alternative ways of capturing images. For a big chunk of my nature photography career, I shot with a Holga camera, which is a plastic toy camera. I should have had one, but I didn't think about that to show you. I'm sorry. But I did that for a long time, and it's very spontaneous. There's no technical control. It's all composition, emotion, and trust, trusting in the magic. So and that was a film camera, which I haven't shot with for a while. But this, I've been shooting with my iPhone a lot, which I have here. And I've recreated that same spontaneity and lack of really technical control. So I've been going out to the flower gardens, and I've been using this. Can you see it? This is it's a close-up filter that I put on my phone. It just goes like that. And it's a, how do you say? So it's a close-up filter. So when you look at things far away, it creates blur. I can put this on real quick and you'll see how crazy blurry.
Yeah.
Like you can't,
super soft focus.
Yes. So what I do is I sit there, with the close-up filter, and I am looking at the flower, and I'm getting really, really, really close to the flower and going back and forth, and I can kind of see, the blur creating. And it's best if I showed you, but I've done some Facebook Lives with it, so you can see, because I can do a video on here. But it's like, it takes away the reality of it being a flower and creates this abstract painting. Wow. Right? Like it's all just about shape and form and color. And then I use some apps on the phone and edit it to really enhance the painting quality. It's like I'm finally following in my grandmother's footsteps, but still with the camera, right? Like I'm not a painter, but I'm creating paintings, and I call the series Painted Visions, and they are on my website. So that's just a lot of fun, because I also use the wind, right? So the flowers in the wind are like crazy blurry, and on a traditional camera, you get a lot of, you don't want that, right? But with this, it's like I'm like photographing with the wind, and we're flowing together. And so it works for me, and I love it. I'm excited.
Right. That's awesome. So you're really just smashing all sorts of different things into each other to see what happens next.
I do. I love that. I just love going with what comes up and comes through. But the other thing is like with creativity, you have to be in the right place for you, for those new things to come through. Like for me, like when I'm depressed or having a hard time, like I can't really access that, but for other people, when they're having a hard time, that's where their creativity flourishes and it brings them out.
Yeah, I'm more like you. I think a lot goes on in my head when I'm in those darker places, but I can't bring it out. I have to be happier to bring it out.
Yeah. I feel like the darker places are like, there's some processing happening that will get us there, or that will come out when we're in the better place. Like, I don't think it's a bad place to be, it's a hard place to be, but yeah, like the Painted Visions came out after I came out of a bad place, and I was ready to play again. Right. And then, and then I had bought this years ago, but I had forgotten about it, and I found it in a drawer, and I was like, okay, let's play.
I'm ready. Let's go play.
Yeah. So that was fun.
How hard do you find it to let go of things like projects and move on to the next one? We've talked briefly now about your standard portrait, then there was the wedding photography, and then, the remote portraits, and now this more art kind of thing. Like, how difficult is it for you to move from one to the other?
I don't know. Um, I'm not sure. I mean, I think when I'm done with something, I'm done.
You just feel it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, like weddings, I knew I was done with my body talking. But I was getting a little burnout. Like I felt that coming. I shot kids for a long time, photographed kids for a long time. I don't remember. Oh, I think it's like a burnout because I got burnout of people, like those first 10, 15 years of weddings and kids. And then I switched over to nature. So I'm not clear. But one thing I can tell you is I've seen over the span of my career is that my photography has like led my life lessons. So like I learned about relationship when I started shooting weddings when I was, I don't know, 21 when I started my business. So I witnessed all these relationships coming together and I learned a lot about them. And I photographed kids and families and I learned I didn't want to have kids, like I learned how that process and that type of life felt to me. When I started photographing plants and flowers, I learned about their medicinal purposes. I learned a lot about herbalism and the natural world. And even through shooting the remote portraits, and I bring in that piece of self-love with embodiment guides and sexual healing, because I photograph people having sex remotely, and overcoming sex shame and celebrating the connection and union between a couple. Like I started learning about my own sex shame and sex healing. And I never really chose these things. They all just kind of showed up as the next thing to do.
But you kept on showing up as well.
Yes. I mean, I kept showing up and saying, yes, okay, let's try this out and do it. So, it's been really fascinating just kind of watching. And now this phase of the painted visions and really stepping into being an artist in this, like I've had the belief for a long time that I'm not a real artist or I can't, like so many of us creatives are told when we're young that we can't do that or be that.
Yeah.
For me, being a service photographer, like weddings and portraits, it was kind of like my way around it a little bit, right? But now, like the painted vision shows up, and I really feel it in my body, like this is it. Like I'm stepping into who I truly am, and why I'm here on the planet. And I'm not putting away all the other stuff. They're all a piece of me, and I still do them. Yeah. I think that was a bigger answer. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I don't remember the question.
It's great. Art as a pathway to self. I love it.
There you go. My new tagline. I'm going to put that on Clubhouse or whatever I just signed up for. I don't know.
Well, we're definitely going to call your interview that, I think.
Okay.
Rebecca, it's been awesome talking to you. Thank you so much. You also have a bit of a special offer for anybody who's watching this video. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes. I am going to offer a coupon code for 10% off anything in my store. I have fine art photographs from my Holga collection, which was the toy camera I told you about. I spent about 10 years photographing with that. Also, the painted visions are slowly showing up in my store. So if you want to, you can sign up for the email list and you'll get announcements of when the new images drop. Cool. So, but yes, the 10% coupon.
Awesome. Rebecca, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And for all of you watching here, if you want to access Rebecca's special discount, there's a link next to the video here. You can click on that. It'll take you through to her site with the special offer there. And don't forget, if you've enjoyed listening to Rebecca and all the other speakers you may have watched since the summit went live, please feel free to upgrade and co-sponsor us by signing up for the All Access Playground Pass. And the link to that is also next to this video. So thank you very much.